We'll start off with a tactile talk with the Dr. Aloknath, and then after that we have a debate on predominantly a couple of subjects. So we have 2 debates for quick 20 minutes each. And right after that, I think the most look after is health tech startups. We have 5 companies that will come and then talk about what innovations and what kind of a product that they've done. They're all from here. And then finally a closing kind of a keynote or a tactile talk, right? So let me introduce our next speaker, Dr. Aloknath. He is the Corporate Vice President of Samsung Electronics and the Chief Technology Officer of Samsung R&D Institute of India. And then Dr. Day has over 30 years of industrial and research experience, including BL, Nortel, Hughes, and then Ericsson, where he was R&D Director and the Country Manager. During 2005 to 11, he has served as the visiting adjunct professorship with IIT Roorkee and then IIT Delhi. He holds the BTech from IIT Kharagpur, ME from IISc Bangalore, and a PhD from McGill University, Montreal. He is a recipient of Alexander Graham Bell Prize in Canada. He has received IETE Memorial Awards for distinguished contributions in electronics and communications, IDC Insights Award for Innovation in Telecom, and Zeno 26 Entrepreneur of the Year Award. So fantastic to have you, Dr. Day. If you can come and then please do the afternoon session. Please welcome with a big hand.
Okay, good afternoon. So people say, to make error is human. To err is human, there is a saying, right? I say to ignore health is human. And I have my own experience, and I think when I look around and see people, many a times, we hesitate to go to the hospitals, even executive health checkups and things like that. And after 2 years, before when it was decided that I will talk here, I thought it'll be good to at least cleanse that guilt feeling. And after 2 years, I went to a Samsung medical center in Korea and spent my last month about 9 hours of different devices testing. And yesterday I got the report. So I'm well qualified from that angle now to speak. And in terms of technology, so yes, we do devices. But one fundamental question, why people do not go to the hospitals, why they hesitate to take those tests, is that there's a fear of something going wrong, and it's a very precious things that we all have. It's a machine that is perfectly working, and what goes wrong and how it goes wrong, how to rectify, it's quite complex. That fear eats out, and therefore we delay, and more we delay, when we go there is a more discrete elements and more surge of bad news that may come. So what we need to do it to allay that fear is basically we need to have a continuous health monitoring and exercise and all of those elements. And today we have devices of our smartphones and wearables and others. They may not solve all the problems in one go, and it may take time, but I think sometimes the very basics make more difference in our life. So with that note, I just put my talk as mHealth in India. What is the effect and role of wireless devices, sensors in health monitoring, in improving our health outcome so that we all stay fit? So, today, if I look into it, and it's my own way of looking at that classifications, role of health sensors in mHealth. If I have to classify, I will put these 4 classes. One is your motion sensors. Almost many of our devices that we use has got inertial sensors, what we call it, your accelerometer, gyroscope, magnetometer, many other sensors, pedometer, that is a special accelerometer. That's part of those devices. So how can they play a good role? What can we do with them is one question. The second set, the blue color at the bottom, is the ambient sensors. That also make a difference, because if you look into it, there are light sensors. There is temperature, humidity, kind of humidifier or humidity measurement sensors that are part of the devices. Okay, so that's the ambient sensors class. Then we have the body sensors. That's kind of measuring many of the things that physiologically changing in our body in a daily fashions. So stress, blood pressures, ECG, these are upcoming. Some are already available, some are being tested. Pre-FDA, many companies have received, some are receiving even FDA certifications. And this is a class, what we call as body sensors. And the fourth class is display sensors. I just, for the paucity of real terminology, I put it that way. But even your virtual reality glasses, they could be used for specific things. For example, health diagnosis that we have been working, surgical training simulations, 3D medical image visualizations. So that's the fourth class. If you find another class, do let me know. But I think broadly what we could categorize are into these four. And when you have these sensors, you obtain the data, and they could be at times residing outside of your devices as a specific sensors into the IoT world. We heard this morning many a times in that directions when Optum keynote was there, and then subsequently that this is very, very important, and you can collect informations from these devices, from the other IoT devices, and then we analyze the data. This analysis falls into two specific classes. One is my personalizations, right? What's only for me. And then it can be also counted as a statistical information for a class of people, for a group of people. Are they sleeping more? Do they have diabetic? This is a kind of cohort that we can analyze. So let me just take you through those four classes. That's the essence of my talk today. It may be sounding very easy, but I think, as I said, the fundamentals, if you get it right, it's quite a lot. And when you look into step count and active, inactive state, I think three basic things we do is sit down, stand up, walk, run. These are quite fundamentals, and even we do not do them right. Even we do not do them right. I have to put a 55 minutes kind of alert for me to wake up and stand up and then walk around for 5 minutes and then come back. So that's one aspect of it, that even though it's so fundamental, we don't do it. And how can we make sure all the people do it right? The second aspect of it is, so that's the entertainment part of it. The second part of it is that, you have this step count. It looks nice, but even when you look at the sensors, if you have tried, we used to see that, the error, the step counts are going wrong. The latency, when it starts counting, it's after some time, or you have to press buzzer every time, which is not natural. Or if you put your, smartphone on the car, it still keeps counting. I used to do that way, to cheat it, because the day you miss gym, just put it on the car, your Smart Health on, and that works. So that's how it used to work. But our world is changing, and people are correcting to that. So that kind of accuracy, pedometer as a special accelerator is a good thing. And then we have a mapping of brisk walking or what pace you are doing. A calorie mapper can work. It's not all the steps. How much time you took to cover that steps also matters, and that gives you a quite correct calculations of the calorie. And as I said, the active, inactive state. Then from that basic things, if you go to the next step, it's also the gym. If you go to the gym, you may carry your phone, but that's in the pocket, but you're doing dumbbelling, you're doing a lot of other things. So wearable is the best device as a health measure for such things. And we have a fantastic solutions where you can auto-classify 14 activities we started with. It has gone up since then. Whether you are squatting, whether you are doing abs and things like that, you actually, if it's a little bit, it involves the hand, then obviously more correctness comes up. But this is very, very important because it's an auto-classifications. I cannot say that I will do 5 of this and again click it to something and then 3 more of that. It has to detect automatically that I'm moving from this to that and coming back again to do the similar exercise. So altogether, if you put it, you get even your calorie calculations, and then you can present it in various ways, including your personalized ways, your weekly, monthly trends that is there, and then you can sense whether you are doing it all right or not. The next part of it is activity recognitions and calories. So I have already covered, but just to tell you why and how we do it, it's an AI applications. That is what I am kind of bringing it in. We do an hierarchical classification. It's called ANN network, artificial neural nets. And then you start doing by non-cardio, cardio. If you look into the hierarchical classes, you can see there are 3 classes. So first is very small kind of movement or activities. As you move to the second, you also trigger that you might move to the third, which is your cardio exercise. When you are doing the second classes, from first you don't never go to the third, but from second you move. So you can trigger that on. Why you triggered that on? Because when you do the calorie calculations, for the first part of it, non-cardio, there are a lot of maps that are available, charts that are available, how to compute calorie. But when you go to the heart cardio exercise, doesn't matter what exercise you are doing, it's a cardio exercise. So cardio representation gives you what the calorie that is being spent. So that's how the whole idea. And then if you look into the pie charts, you'll get all the details of cycling, walking, and all of those you can categorize. So this is the first class of sensors. The second class of sensors is the ambient sensors. So you have an UV sensors. In one of our products, we put that ultraviolet sensors, and you can measure it, because if you're going out, is the sun too hot today? Even if it's looking bright, doesn't mean the UV is high. Which day you have a higher UV is the main question. But then not all phones have it, and not all wearables. So we kind of found a scientific way from the white light, the lux measurements in any room that is there. How can you find a relationship from that white light to the ultraviolet light exposures? There is quite intricate maths that is involved, but we could find that, and you can see that extracting UV component from the white light. Now, people's skins are also different. So we have an auto detection of your skin type. 6 types. You just hold it, your phone, towards this area, nail this. We can figure it out what's your on the left side, the type of skin, and at the same time, what's the outside from the light sensors. When you do from light sensors, there are also beautiful things that happen, because in UV sensors, you have to hold onto a particular directions. The shade doesn't work. But light sensors, you can actually do pretty good. Look into that, the bottom part, the 11 steps that are there. And you see from the very green to going to the red, UV classifications of 11 classes, and the approach is, the first 2 is quite okay, and then as you go deeper, how much time you can stay outside. If it's green, you can stay the whole day. If it's not, then you need to reduce your time, because that multiplication factor tells you what's your cumulative dose that you are getting from there. And then finally, why am I doing all of this? Because I want to make a recommendations. Now, one is somebody calculating all the time can do that, but what is my recommendations? You can see at the bottom, protective measures and the recommendations. We call it seek, bring the umbrella, slip, put a protective cloth, slop is basically your lotions that you can put in, slide the goggles, and the slap the hat. So this is a terminology that you use in the UV world, and effectively you can guide them what to do, how long they can stay. There is this body sensors. I'm giving another example. It says, we talked about the first 2 sensor types. Now I'm coming to the body sensors. Stress tracking using PPG sensor. You all know the plasmaplethysmography sensors that's available. You can actually look into the heart rate, not only the heart rate, but its variations. You all know, if you are into the health field, that how variations matter in terms of determining your BP or other factors. So we have a very elaborate algorithm to do that, where we look into the heart rate variability. You have a feature set in the time domain, in the spectrum domain. Some are linear, some are nonlinear, more than 40 of them. I just gave you some examples. You put it into a modeling. It's not a binomial, it's a multinomial, polynomial regression models, and then you get a stress score. And you say, okay, you are not stressed or you are stressed. And you can just do it opposite. Exactly, it is not opposite, but I just flipped it and say, why not an alertness tracking? It's a little different. So I am there, but am I alert throughout the day? If you look into the graph below, you can see the yellow portion, you are alert in some sense. But you are deeping there, the score, if you see that in the pink region, it has dropped quite significantly. So you are kind of not sleeping. If you are sleeping, then those peaks will not come up. It will be flat. But with those peaks, I know that you are kind of napping, afternoon nap probably. That's the slumber. So actually, we can interpret these signals and we can tell you what you have done probably in the day, right? With that, pre-processing, feature extractions, many a times there are signals that are noisy. Why I need all the sensors? Because sometimes you get those from PPG, but my other sensors, accelerometer, magnetometer, those data tells me to what to subtract, because I might be a little bit walking at the same time. And these signals could be noisy if I just take from PPG. So I have to do some noise cancellations due to my movement, due to my turning around, and then you get the results. This is something that we did very recently, and I would like to highlight that this is a cuffless BP estimations. We have done an app. It's available in the App Store. You can use it. I would encourage you to use it. It's available for S6 onwards, all the phones that we have in the flagship. NASSCOM had recognized as an AI Game Changer award very recently. We call it InstaBP as an app, and it effectively computes your blood pressure quite accurately that we have seen. Many people are using. Just in a few days, we got some 8,000 downloads. Just recently, we launched it. You can try doing that. PPG sensor is at the back that you have to put your finger, just touch there, and you can get that. So here, a little bit more details, how we are doing. Typical signals come like that, but we have certain notch, the variability. So we clean up the signal, that's your processing, time domain, frequency domain, linear, nonlinear, all of those, very detailed SVM or other kind of AI methods, and you get that results at the end of it. And I don't know if I can somebody touch that right side, the phone picture? Can you touch, just play? So you get a clean signal. If it's not clean, you have to redo. But that's the signal, and you get the BP. It's less than a minute, 45 seconds. Please try using it. I'll be happy if there is a feedback. Please give us. We'll make it better. We have launched first in India, and we'll take it to other countries. So it's done by our lab, and I would encourage you again to use it. OK, so that's the demo that you had. And you have to make sure that the signals are clean as it's shown here. OK? And just to wind it up, I think to respect time, the current directions, where do we go from here? I showed the 3 classes of it, but obviously the various sensing technologies can be utilized to effectively monitor physiological signals. Some are ambient, some are motions, and all together it covers a great space. VR could be used, and that's one. The eyesight, if you fix your eye on a center and the signals or impulse comes, you can actually measure how much is your visual angle, what you're able to see, what you're not able to see. That's technique. Health insights that allow Samsung Health to take actions. Because one of the important thing is, many things we see from here and there, but finally what matters is, what can I do for myself? How can I improve my health and fitness, right? That matters. So we call it that health insights. For example, we can make a group of people who are undersleeping or oversleeping and normal sleeping, doesn't matter the age group. That's a demographic, we do it. We have other way of partitioning, but this is a one way of doing cohorts analysis. So health ways of various cohort analysis would be an important part. And let me conclude by saying that Samsung Health, a feature, we have it in most of the devices, including wearables. There are things that we do for ourselves, me, but then there are other features that you can see is together. me to together, meaning two people trying to do maybe a contest of whatever type, a competitions of can I do more walking. I went 5 miles, he went 6 miles, okay, I'll make it up. So that's it together. It's a gamifications to promote health. Experts, ask an experts. This is a feature we have launched in, you can see Babylon, that's launched in UK, there is US. We have also partnered here, whereby you can work with them and then get to the doctors, get to the clinics, and then connect them. That's a partnership model, but ask an expert through our Samsung Health feature. And discover anything, new things that you want to know about this particular sensors or this particular disease or how many people are of this. There is this whole Wikipedia in MD, Wikipedia or Wikimedia that's available. So that can give you all the information that you need at the basic level. So I think in today's talk, I wanted to highlight the role of sensors that are available in the IoT, in the mobile devices, and how can you utilize in a fundamental way, and how we are building solutions, applying AI to take the health forward. With that note, I will conclude. Thank you very much.